Chapter 1. The women's quarters smelled of iron and boiled linen, long before the first cry split the night. It was not the clean sound people later liked to imagine when they spoke of birth. It was thin, ripped raw, torn from a throat already exhausted. Outside, cicadas screamed as if answering it, their noise rising in waves from the tree line. The heat pressed low and wet against the clapboard walls, heavy enough to make breathing a choice rather than a reflex. Odie knew something had gone wrong the moment the girl stopped screaming. She'd been on her knees beside the pallet, fingers slick with blood that was already cooling. The midwife, a white woman hired in from town, stiff-backed and careful with her skirts, had gone quiet too. Quiet was never a good sign. The only sound in the room was the crackle of the lamp wick and the low, uneven breath dragging out of the young woman on the pallet. Pearl. She'd been born on this land and would die on it. Before learning to write her name, she had learned to sew. She stitched cuffs and collars for the mistress, mended torn hems, and repaired lace that cost more than she would ever see in her lifetime. She slept in the house, not the quarters, because her hands were considered too valuable to risk stiffness from cold or injury from fieldwork. Her story was as common in these parts as breathing. Her body had turned out to be valuable, too. The midwife wiped her hands on a rag already soaked through and shook her head once. It was not a gesture meant for comfort, but a final one. Odine reached for Pearl's hand anyway. The poor girl's eyes were open but unfocused, glassy as river stones. Her lips moved. It took Odine a moment to understand that she was trying to speak. "Baby," Pearl whispered. The midwife hesitated. It was a small thing, that pause, but it held more truth than any sermon. She reached down and lifted the infant from between Pearl's legs. A girl. Tiny, slick, and furious at the world. The baby's cry came strong this time, sharp and indignant, her fists clenched tight as if she were already fighting to stay. Odine let out a breath before saying, "She's alive," Odine said, as if that might fix everything. Pearl's mouth curved, but just barely. Relief crossed her face, and then pain, sudden and consuming, racked her body. Blood soaked the pallet, dark and spreading far too much. The midwife swore under her breath and pressed down hard, hands moving fast now, urgency replacing propriety, but it was already done. By the time dawn bled pale through the narrow window, Pearl was gone. Her body lay still, emptied, as if someone had removed something essential from her twice over. The baby did not stop crying. The mistress was not present when Pearl died. She arrived the next day, wrapped in a morning shawl despite the heat, her hair pinned with unnecessary care. Augusta Channing was already up and had been for hours. She paused in the doorway, surveying the room with a practiced eye. They had scrubbed the blood from the floor. Fresh linen covered the pallet. Pearl's body had already been removed, and they carried it out through the back like refuse, because grief was inconvenient and death, when it belonged to enslaved women, was a logistical matter. The baby lay in Odine's arms, her cries reduced to a hoarse whimper, and Augusta's gaze fixed there. "She lived?" Augusta asked. It was not a question asked with hope. "Yes'm," Odine said. "The child did." Augusta stepped closer. The baby's skin was dark and damp, her hair already curling tight against her scalp. She was small but sturdy,